people.
All right. Sorry about being late. I literally just got on and I was like, oh shit. Well, what happened was apparently, or not apparently, but I'm guilty of forgetting it was Friday. So my apologies for that. Because I usually do laundry on Saturdays. I did it today because I'm going to go see the new Indiana Jones movie, and and I completely forgot that today was Friday, and I was running late, and I was like, "Holy shit, today's Friday! Gotta run, gotta get set up and start streaming." I'm like, what, 5 minutes late? Sorry about that. I'm completely made a mistake. I forgot it was Friday, also last Friday too. So that's why I'm like, holy crap. Let me let people know that I'm live because that way, people know that I'm here. And then I'll get started because, let's see here. So how's everyone doing on this Friday? I mean, I'm doing well. I wasted a bunch of time. We'll be covering a few stories today, so just give me 1 second to... Yeah, that's it. That's enough. Alright. I need my phone over here. That's easier. Alright, so how does everybody like the new setup? I know I like it a lot. And, new graphics, new everything, and my mouse is about to die. So I'm going to have to use the touchpad here, and I hate using the goddamn touchpad. I didn't bother charging I forgot to charge my mouse because I am a goddamn moron that forgot because of my ADD that today was Friday. What am I supposed to be doing here? Oh, okay. Jesus Christ, I'm all over the place. Let's see. Let's put this on. Alright. If you hear some buzzing, I have a fan on literally right in front of me because it's so hot in here. I have no air conditioning. So hopefully that doesn't annoy people too much. Let me just share my screen before I start. Alright, there you go. Better. Let me see. I like it like. Yeah, that'll work. That's better. So we're gonna start with this today, and let me make sure I get. So let's look at this first. This is from the Long Crime YouTube channel, and I happened to come across this. Not looking for it; it's just in my feed. So I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." So I read you the description real quick. Rhode Island State Senator Joshua Miller was arrested after he admitted to keying a man's car that had a Biden sucks bumper sticker. Body camera video shows him originally denying the crime at the crime scene. But after police told him the entire thing was caught on camera, he fessed up to it. I think he's one of the gun nuts, Miller told Cranston police. He was daring me to, basically. The senator was charged with a vandalism charge. The victim's son said he heard a scratching sound when Miller walked by the family car. So this is what we're going to start with. I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'm just going to play some parts of this, the beginning, the middle, and the end when this fool actually gets arrested. So let's start off with this. If you can't hear or there's any issues, let me know so I can fix them.
And as soon as we were walking back from the Starbucks, I heard him key the vehicle. So I heard a loud scratching noise, and as I turned the corner, there he was with keys in his hand facing the vehicle.
He was blocking my way, saying I scratched his car. I didn't scratch.
Well, that's the senator. So
I'm a state senator. I think he recognized me. I think he's one of the gun nuts. He called out my name. I never told him my name.
That's definitely him. That's his face, 100%.
All right, and you're sure that you don't recognize him from anywhere
I've never
at
seen
all?
him in my life. I didn't even know this guy existed.
Saw what appeared to be keys in the gentleman's hand, and you looked over and saw a long scratch on his vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just fresh. It literally just happened, too.
I
yeah.
have little scratches, but that's a new one.
Well, it kind of looked like he tried to extend it
No,
a
that
little
one's
bit.
here.
No, that
there?
one. This
That
is the fresh one right here.
Let me see something.
Kind of looked like
There's an
That's
SUV
I have
right
little
there.
scratches, but that's a new one.
well, it kind of.
All right, you can see it there. It says Biden sucks. It's right there in the back. And there's some other sticker there too. I can't tell what it is, but it says Biden sucks. So you can see it right there. Originally, I read it said fuck Biden, but it was like, oh no, Biden sucks. So that's okay. So you can see it right there on the body cam.
Kind of looked like he tried to extend it
No,
a
that
little
one's
bit.
here.
No,
That was there?
one. This
That
is the fresh
one.
one right here. Right down here, this one.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Apparently he doesn't like my stickers, so.
That's all you need from me.
Doesn't like my stickers.
Okay,
Just
so-
got to write in there if you're wishing to pursue charges for the individual that's responsible.
We should have an officer come down here with the camera to take pictures to document the damage to the car.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm sorry.
So can you stick around for a few minutes? They're on
Yeah,
the way
we're gonna
right
have
now,
to,
so,
No, you aren't banned from here. As far as I know, I mean, you're good. I could see you, so I don't know. And I'm banned from here as far as I know, so let's keep going.
How long were you guys here for before you guys showed up? You guys were here for only about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And the truck wasn't there when you guys pulled in first?
Well, my son's in the truck, so I can't answer these questions.
Well, remember when the truck was there when we pulled up? No, it wasn't. It was some other vehicle. And as soon as we were walking back from the Starbucks, I heard him key the vehicle. Well, I heard a loud scratching noise, and as I turned the corner, there he was with keys in his hand facing the vehicle. So, it had it been
Sometimes the dance inside a little bit, please. Huh? Just leave the car here. This truck here. Want me to run home? Can I get the...
Alright, well, this is boring. Hold on. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Get rid of that. Skip ahead. They take pictures of the evidence. Here we go. Get rid of that. I know my mouse battery's dying. Let's see. Now this is the part where the senator comes in and they ask him some questions.
Positively ID to hang out the positive.
So you live nearby?
Yeah, we live right up the street.
Okay, you have all this information? Because we may have to just put like a photo.
I just need you to step out the truck for me, all right?
Sure.
You mind shutting it off? I'll explain to you when you get out here, okay? You want to come right back here for me? Five. I'm at one male detained for right now. All right, listen. I have to detain you for right now. All right. I'm investigating a crime. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If it's a maniac who yelled at me in the car next to me,
They weren't in the car next to you. There was no one in the car.
yeah.
There was no one in the
He
car.
he was blocking my way, saying I scratched his car. I didn't scratch his car. I'm a state senator. I think he recognized me. I think he's one of the gun nuts.
He's guys. I'm a state senator, and you know, there's no way I could have committed this crime. He's a gun nut too, you know. So he scared me. Come on, man. That's basically what he's trying to intimate, that he's scared and he's a Democrat. You know, he's a state senator trying to assert his authority over the cop.
He called out my name. I never told him my name.
All right. He didn't say any of that, okay?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
definitely didn't recognize you. I know he didn't say that.
Yeah.
So, all right. His
Yeah.
got keyed. It was freshly keyed.
Yeah.
All right. And that's what we're investigating right now.
Okay.
And seeing, you know, he pretty much heard it and saw you.
Yeah.
And you had keys in your hand as well.
That's because I just came out of my car.
Well, that would make sense,
Yeah.
but the way that he explained it
Yeah.
seemed much
Yeah.
a little bit more in depth than that, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
He can hear it like fresh. It was, He can hear the scratching, and he approached you and asked you. And you kind of just
and I
walked
said
away.
no,
and kind of just
because
blew
he
him
called
off.
out my name.
Yeah, he didn't say he called out your name, but
Called out my name, and I was worried that he was one of the gun nuts who stalked me at the State House. So I kept walking.
Gun nuts.
Yeah, I don't think he was that. He seemed a little young. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. Okay. Just for right now, just hang out a little bit. All right. I have a supervisor coming out here. Okay.
Time in AC, show 10 a.m.
I was scared, so I kept walking.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I was scared. You see, I mean, he's a Republican, so obviously he's dangerous. Or at least they hate Joe Biden, so they must be dangerous, right? I mean, come on, man. What do you expect from me? Unbelievable. Oops. Let me try actually doing that.
And I went over to Starbucks, had a drink.
Yes, I know my
calmed
mouse
down.
is dying.
You
Nothing I can
saw me
do
walk
about
in.
it. Tell me maybe 10
walked over
seconds.
to Whole Foods to get what I needed to get. And I came back.
You walked all the way to Whole Foods?
Yeah, because I was afraid to come back to my car and he was still here.
Why didn't you call us?
It's a good question. I should have.
Five.
You're gonna be all.
Yeah.
Hey, William. How you doing?
might.
It's folks with
He's
we
scared.
spoke earlier. Is there any way I can have you come back to just ID the gentleman that you said keyed the car?
Right. Yeah, he would. He probably would because he's scared. If you hate Biden, he's scared of you. That's basically what he's saying. This is the part where the victim IDs the senator. I'm probably going to go a little bit forward, though. Here we go. It's like 30 minutes, and I'm playing this whole thing.
There's no charges yet. We're still investigating it, okay? We still have some...
There are cameras almost down each and every row, so obviously we have to do our due diligence to make sure. So we're just going to detain you for a little longer until he comes down here. He's coming from Providence, so he should be here momentarily.
So Colonel Winquist knows that I was stalked by these guys.
Okay.
Because I'm the sponsor of assault weapons. Yep.
Hey, guy! I'm being stalked by pro-gun nuts. I'm stalked, and your boss knows about this because I told him I'm being stalked. I'm in danger, and that's why I had to key this person's car for no reason. That's basically he's trying to set up a defense on why he keyed this person's car.
Okay.
They actually patrolled my house.
Do you recognize this gentleman?
I thought he called my name. Like there's the stickers on the back of my car. I thought he said, "Hey Miller, did you key my car?" Because I was concerned he was one of these guys.
Yep.
Right. That stalked me. I kept walking.
Okay. No, that's absolutely fine. I have no problem with what you did after that also. Just so we can, again, do our due diligence.
Because some of these guys are armed, so I was really concerned.
I trust me. I completely understand your concern. So we obviously have a job to do. We're just doing our due diligence.
Yeah.
Just so we can, like I said, so we can thoroughly investigate. Is it possible just to see your keys so we can rule out the possibility if there's any paint transfer on your keys at all?
All right. So now they're gonna check his keys. Blah blah blah. Let me go to the end of the night because he gets arrested at night because they come for him. So let's go here. This is boring stuff here. All right.
Yeah.
Well, sir, you have a good rest of your day, okay?
Appreciate your help.
No problem.
All right. Take care.
So this is later that night. He actually gets arrested here and charged with vandalism, I guess. I mean, I read it, but I forgot already what he was charged with. But they actually find evidence that he did, key this person's car. So here we go.
Hi.
Senator, how are you?
Good.
Good. You got a minute?
Yeah.
We came to talk to you about an incident tonight that occurred in Garden City.
Yeah.
So we have a complainant who wants to pursue charges against you.
Okay.
So we've got to do our due diligence. They spoke with you earlier tonight.
Yeah.
We can go back to Garden City. We've got the video of you going.
You go to Garden City, the Rhode Island accent. I mean, it's just you can tell, it's like I can tell they're from Rhode Island. It's like, you got to go back to Garden City, and we have to, pursue charges and stuff because the victim wants to charge you, blah blah blah. So keep going.
When you're walking through Garden City, putting your coat over your shoulder, going to Whole Foods, buying your lettuce, putting it in the bag, coming back.
I was afraid to come back to the car because he said, "Hey, Miller."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got your evidence. So you tell us how you want to handle this. You keyed his car.
Yeah.
And
you keyed his car.
We can either make a big deal out of this or a little deal. So,
okay. Whatever you recommend.
Well, I want to know what you recommend. I mean, I don't want to be accused of covering up something for a senator.
Sure, neither do I.
So I think it's best that we all be up front with each other and do the right thing here.
Yeah, I want to, because, before he even got to me, right? He was saying, "Hey, Miller, what are you going to do?"
Hey, dude, here you go. Shut the fuck up. You're under arrest. You're being charged. Just get a lawyer and move on. And he keeps talking.
Right?
Yeah, so I'm going to be right up front with you. He saw your sticker on your truck.
Yeah.
And he ran it and he saw your picture and he said, "That's the guy that just keyed my car."
Yeah.
So he was upset. And I don't know, do you know the guy? Why would you key his car?
Listen. He was threatening me already.
There's a video.
Okay. He was threatening me already.
There's a video.
Whatever
come on,
you
don't
want
lie.
me to do to make it, easiest for you guys and everything.
So we're gonna probably go back and get an arrest warrant, right?
Yeah.
But it's you rather than do that, you can either come to the police station. We can charge you there.
Yeah.
This guy wants to pursue charges. He's upset that his car's all keyed. We were gonna do a search warrant and take your keys and stuff like that, but I think you're gonna cooperate.
Yeah.
Why did you key? Do you know that? Did he threaten you?
He was already threatening me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what did he?
He was threatening me.
Do you want to give a statement? How did he threaten you? Because we can't hear what's said. We can only see.
As soon as I opened my door.
Yep.
He started saying, "Hey, Miller, what are you going to do?" Right?
Yep.
He already started on me as soon as I opened my door.
Right. And then, which guy was that? Because there was two guys.
Yeah. I don't know which guy.
All right.
Yeah.
So did he bang your car with the door or something before that, or like why would
No,
you key?
as soon as I came out of the car.
You just got mad and keyed his car.
Because he was already screaming at me.
All right.
Yeah.
He
All right.
keyed his car for no reason.
Why don't we do this here? If you want to just come to the... We're not going to go do an arrest warrant for you and roll it out that way. Why don't we just... And it would probably be... It's up to you. You could really...
Well, I don't like this. I mean, they're obviously trying to protect the senator. It's like, hey, look, usually how we would do this, we get a search warrant for your keys, or we issue an arrest warrant, we'll just come and arrest you. No, it came to this house is like, look, I mean, we could do this the easy way or the hard way, it's better you just come down to the police station. We don't embarrass you, we don't put out a search warrant for you. We don't put out an arrest warrant for you, that's all public record, so we don't embarrass you. So let's just, come down to the police station. We'll cover this up. It's not a big deal. Blah, 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 blah. I don't like this. It's like they're protecting a powerful person here. Just annoying. And let's finish this off.
A statement saying he threatened, whatever the case was.
Yeah.
And then, I keyed it out of what? I don't know, anger. Yeah. I don't know what your issue was.
Yelling at me.
Did he threaten you at all, or?
I thought he was threatening me based on, just my history with guys like that.
Now I thought he was threatening me. Now he's threatening me.
What do you mean, like guys like that? Was he the...
I thought he was one of the gun nuts that, stalked
the gun nuts,
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you recognize him, or?
No, it's just I thought he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, why don't we do this here, because it's a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
I think the guy just wants his restitution to get his car fixed.
Sure.
I mean, it's keyed pretty bad, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
What did you do with your keys, or?
Well, I took my keys out when he started yelling at me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, you got there's a lot. I mean, you could see you're between the cars, and I mean, it's obvious that I don't know. I mean, we'll deal with it at the police station.
That's why
I felt threatened. Again, he's saying he felt threatened.
Right, but they're gonna. What's the reason to key the car, though? That's the question.
Because he was daring me to, basically.
Okay.
He was daring you to.
All right, so why don't we do this here? You want to just throw a pair of shoes on?
You see that? You heard? Well, he was daring me to, so I had to key his car, right? come on, man. What are you, a child? Is like, I dare you to do this. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll do it. Shit, I mean, come on. How dare, I mean, come on. That's so ridiculous. Like, well, he dared me to, guys. So I had to do it, officer, because he dared me. He dared me to key his car, and now I have to pay thousands of dollars in order for him to fix his car. What an idiot. Another minute of this, I'll play.
Who's on? Come to the station. We'll
All right.
bang it out real quick and get you out of there. It's up to It's a misdemeanor, like I said. It's Cap. Does he need money? You gonna do JP for him or?
Yes. Yeah. $50.
50, bring $50, and whoever the judge of the piece is on duty will come in and just get you out of there.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Senator, have a good night.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna come in here with you, so you know. I mean, I gotta follow you in so you can grab a pair of shoes. Unless there's a pair of shoes like right here, right?
Oh, God. It's like, hey, look, just bring $50 to the police station. We'll bail you out. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You'll be home before you're back to sleep tonight. Like, really? Like, $50? It's like, hey, yeah, you're gonna do this? Sure, yeah, $50. Don't worry. We'll just bring you back home. And it's not a big deal.
Sir? Yeah. All right.
If it's any of us who keyed somebody's car, we'd be arrested. We'd go through this full process. We'd be, fingerprinted and pictures taken and all that stuff. We'd be within the night in jail, probably. Senator? No, I mean, come on, man. I mean, a few hours. Let's just get home, just give us an hour or two. We'll fill out some paperwork. Give us $50, and then we'll go home. You don't need to see a judge,
There with you.
Yeah.
You got a pair of shoes somewhere handy right over there?
The guy wants me arrested for keying his car.
What? That's his wife, I guess.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello. That's his wife, I guess.
He'll be back shortly, okay? He's going to get JP'd out. Do you have, Senator, do you have $50 handy?
Yeah.
All right.
Getting arrested for what?
I'll let your
He says
husband,
I keyed his car, so I'm going down to...
He what, his
straight
car?
He says I keyed his car, so I'm going down.
Keyed his car? What's that mean?
He keyed his car, woman. What do you think that means?
Who said that?
The guy who I parked next to.
Oh.
He's like, his wife is like, I guess his wife was like, what does that mean? You keyed his car? What is that? Like, you never heard of keying somebody's car before? Scratching up their car with keys? Come on. I mean, you can't be that out of touch.
Somebody you parked next to said you keyed your car and you had to go down to the station?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He's under arrest.
Senator, I believe it's got to be cash. I think the justice of the peace accept cash only.
Well, I got some.
Let me just make sure I got enough.
Yeah, I know
Look at this. They're letting him get his money together. They're letting him get his money together. Like, hey, make sure you have $50, all right, in cash. Only take cash. Like, they're not, handcuffing him and treating him like, like beating his ass. Nothing. It's like, hey, make sure you have $50, all right, cash. We only take cash at police station. We don't take card. So cash, you understand? So let's make sure you understand it's only cash. I don't know what JP means, but it must be something in Rhode Island. If you're from Rhode Island, let me know what JP means. I know all ROR is released on your own recognizance. And some states use that, but I don't know what JP means.
Yeah, you got $100 right there.
Yeah. You want me to...
Yeah, just bring all of it just in case. But it's $50.
So you have change? Or should I get...
Just to the peace, they usually carry change as well. Yeah, they usually.
Okay, I got enough.
Okay.
All right. Anything extra you want to leave behind? Just
I want to get my keys.
Keys. The less you bring, the better. But yeah, keys is a good move.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Come on, we're right on here.
Oh, okay. Justice, a judge. Okay. So he's gonna see a judge. Okay.
It's fine, sir. I'm gonna shut this door for you and your wife.
And our mouse is dead.
And we'll step right out.
I think this is it, anyways.
Let him, if he wants to give a statement.
All right.
I threatened him or whatever when he got there. Let him give that. Add that to the report, okay?
Okay. There you go, sir. I just gotta put these on you.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything.
Why don't you have him drive in?
Yeah.
You want me to drive in?
Drive in.
Okay.
Meet us at the station.
Okay.
All right. Do you have
You see, he tried this other cop. That's the end of the video. But this other cop tried to cuff him, And I think his boss or whatever, no, let him drive in. No, don't cuff him. Come on, he's a senator. You don't need to cuff him. It's ridiculous. That was that like shit, man. Come on, really? Oh, come on, man. You don't need to cuff him. I mean, he's gonna drive in, right? He's good, right? And come on, look at that. He got straight up just protected by there at the end by the cops. So like, don't. All right, so don't arrest him. Don't cuff him. He's gonna bring $50 to a judge, and yeah, they let him drive in. They let him drive in, like, hey, don't cuff him. Yeah, he's fine. Let's let him drive in. What's the big deal? And like any other citizen, we let him do that, right? Oh no, we rough him up and arrest him. Oh, okay, but he's one of us, and that's been, we're inconveniencing him, by arresting him. Let's get rid of that. Now I want to bring up. That's that. Oopsie doopsie. Yeah, he's one of us. So now I want to move on to the whole police protect the rich from the poor, not vice versa. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they even arrested him. I mean, it's like, yeah, the people that he keyed their cars clearly aren't wealthy. So I'm surprised they even arrested him. So at least arresting him, and technically, because he has to get on the station to see a judge. But even if I'm surprised they even arrested him. I thought they would do some kind of deal where, hey, just pay the damages of his car, and we're not even going to arrest you. It's like, no, at least to maybe somewhat credit, they arrested him. Technically. So yeah, so I wanted to show that because I was like, holy crap. I mean, they treated him like he was like he was like an important person, and he is. He's a senator, but still, I mean, it seems like they're afraid of, if they arrest him and treat everybody else, they're going to lose money in their budget, because senators tend to have, especially state senators, have the power of the budget when it comes to police. So it's like, we don't want to lose any money. We don't want the senator pissed off at us. So, let's just treat him with massive kid gloves and make sure, we're not trying to arrest him or embarrass him, anything like that. So now, my mouse, I keep forgetting my mouse is dead. Now, I want to go to this whole drama between TYT and trans activists, because lately this has been the talk of the online left, of Twitter. I mean, this is all I've seen, how TYT is moving to the right, and how they're all of a sudden pro-cop, and all of a sudden they are anti-trans, they're TERFs, and all this other crap. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, what's going on here? I was kind of confused. I don't really watch TYT much. I was like, oh, so apparently Anna's left the left, which I don't really care about, but okay. I mean, she went on some shows. I don't know what to call myself anymore. I'm not a progressive or anything like that now. So I was like, really? What the hell is going on here? All this drama and shit. And I'm like, do I want to cover this? No, but at the same time, it's funny, so I'm going to cover it. So there's multiple. Hold on. There's tweets. There's videos. I mean, I'm like, there's a lot of liberals pissed off at TYT. There's a lot of them. I'm like, holy crap. So let me show this. Let me get myself together here, because I'm all over the place. She leaving her new skirt behind. TYT were never radicals. No, but I'm going to. The thing with TYT is this: they pretended to be, no, that's not what I'm looking for. They are basically the godfather of the online left, of what we consider modern online left today. They are basically the godfathers. Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian are like, a lot of channels were spawned by TYT. A lot of the main left-wing channels. Mike Figueredo had a TYT deal to recently. I'm going to in fact play a Figueredo video in a minute. David Dole, also Kyle Kulinski, Sam Cedar, Emma Vigland. All these people are basically connected to TYT in one way or another. And they trained all these hosts to be these reactionary online, like kind of lefties, who attack people for no reason and smear them and all this other stuff. And so once TYT started kind of becoming what's the word I'm looking for? Anti-trans, or they use talking points that. See, I'm so confused at a vernacular. I don't know how to call these people or what the correct words are, but basically they started pointing out the obvious about how trans women have an advantage over women in sports. That was like kind of the beginning of all these issues, basically with TYT and with these trans activists. Anyways, they had a producer, and let me do that. This dude, or I'm not sure what this individual's pronouns are. Again, I don't want to piss off trans people, because I know in Michigan they passed laws saying that if you misgender somebody on accident, on purpose or accident, you get fined $10,000 or something, which is unbelievably ridiculous. But that's what Michigan passed, essentially. And you cannot misgender somebody. Because you misgender somebody, that's worse than calling the black person the N-word, it seems like. So this is a former TYT producer who left recently, and I'm not going to play the video. I'll show. What I'm going to do is this.
Bouncing off of Anna's deeply transphobic energy.
Yeah, I don't care, dude. But...
Alright, so in case it was...
Yeah, I don't really care about that. So, this is him, or her, I don't know. She says, okay, Benny Carolio, like, okay, I'm done with TYT. The latest escalation on transphobia has just gone too far. And I cannot let my presence there seem like a tacit endorsement of their views. Also, LMAO and Anna Kasparian for saying Jesse Signal isn't a transphobe. I have no idea who Jesse Signal even is, so maybe if some of you guys could tell me who he is, I greatly appreciate it. She goes by she. Okay. If I misgender someone and they correct me, I apologize. I mean, yeah, this video is full of condescension. It drips condescension. And she acts like, she's in the right, and, she, like I'm like, really? I mean, I don't want to play any of it. It's so condescending and so... and just so like arrogant, throughout this video, that it's like, bleh, it's like, it's nearly 30 minutes. I watched nearly all of it, and I was like, oh my god. I mean, at one point she cites like 2 studies talking about how there's no evidence that trans women have an advantage over women. I'm like, a study? Can't you see with your own eyes that there is an obvious advantage? I mean, it's like there's Leah Thomas, and there's all these other trans women athletes who are just destroying records, in women's sports, and somehow you don't see a problem with that. Like, that's not an issue with you? Really? That's not an issue with you? No, because ultimately, as and you know what? I don't. Let me think, because Jank, she claims she had a phone call with Jank, and I want to. Let me see.
Anna had said on the air, where I was like, hey, Anna said this bit.
Yeah, I think here it is, yeah. So because he refers to a phone call, or she refers to a phone call that she had with Jank.
Group, and they're infecting people with this radical gender ideology.
See the condescension there is like, but I'm not sure. I think she starts referring to the phone call here.
It's literally what like these unhinged right-wingers are saying, but it does kind of seem like Jenk is just kind of in that camp of like, oh, if you're trans, you must by definition be like some sort of radical leftist. Clearly like not connecting the dots about people like Caitlyn Jenner or Blair White existing, which honestly was just really, really frustrating to have in that conversation. Because the people that are in my circle of friends are people who, like, literally have been homeless in their lives and people who literally are making, like, ridiculous amounts of money. I have a pretty broad circle, you know. It's something that kind of happens sometimes when you're, like, a polyamorous trans woman that's, like, a little bit popular on the internet.
What?
It turns out that...
Wait, a polyamorous trans woman. Jeez, that's a mouthful. That is a polyamorous trans woman. Jesus Christ! I'm like, what? I didn't even. When I was watching this video. Thank you. No, you didn't miss the Kyle segment. That's next. But if you're wondering, but I was just getting into TYT's issues and stuff, so don't worry about that. Another Kiara keying incident. No, and this is TYT drama essentially with trans people. That's what this segment is. I think I missed it. Hold on, I'm sorry.
We're all part of this strict ideological... Oh, Jank really thinks that, like, every trans person is part of some sort of ideology. That we're...
Let me go.
No. You're in a bubble. You're in a bubble. And I kept pressing... Many of which who are sort of all over the place politically. I told Jank very specifically, you know I have friends that are like big Joe Biden fans, right? Like they are theoretically to your political right. His reaction to that was quite literally laughter, which I just thought was like so hilarious. And he just kind of wouldn't believe. He was like, no, you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble. And I kept pressing. I was like, no, Jank, you don't understand. I matched with a random person on Tinder, and the first thing that they started talking to me about is how transphobic TYT has been lately. Because I think that they had just kind of figured out who I was.
Well, Jank isn't wrong. I mean, she is in a bubble. I mean, she's never heard a single thing about what the other side says about trans sports in particular. And trans women in sports in particular. So she basically leaves TYT over alleged transphobia and I've seen a lot of these videos that they allege that are transphobic, and I'm like, they're not transphobic. This is Jank being a buffoon and Anna just being an ass. You know, these people are not transphobic. There are a lot of things. They're idiots, whatever you want to call them, but they're not transphobic. I mean, like what a phobia is literally being scared of something, unreasonably scared of something. That's what a phobia is. And trans and being most people are not like it's a phobia. Like, you really think people are being like, you can't deny that the right is targeting trans people. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. It's painfully obvious for all the bills they're passing. It's just that they're not open-minded to what other people that disagree somewhat has to say. It's clear from this person. It's clear from Mike Figueredo, who I'm going to get to now, by the way, because I don't want to... This dude is just so condescending and boring, too, that I can't really take it. Get rid of that. Hello. Just got to share my other page here. Alright, so here you go. Let's share. If I actually share my screen, it'd be really nice. Like, I definitely need, like, a producer to help me out here with this stuff. Bad cookies. I agree with bad cookies here, but let me just read it real quick. At The Verge is getting canceled. It is scientific to admit the male body has the potential to be stronger than most women in sports. It is why they gave the German Olympic team testosterone. Yeah, absolutely. It's objectively false. I mean, objectively false. I'm trying to again, objectively true. You know. So, yeah, I don't know why people are denying this basic fact. Like, men, even trans men can be stronger, or trans women, rather, can be stronger than cis women, let's say. Because, am I using that right? Like, cis women are like biological women? Because, again, I don't know much about this trans language and stuff. cool backdrop. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I didn't make this. It was Indie from INN News. He's helped me a lot with this. So yeah. If wind and audio, I have a fan literally right in front of me. So if you're hearing, that's probably what you're hearing. So I tried not to, hopefully, it's not too bad because it's so hot in here, or else I'd be just dripping sweat right now, looking disgusting. So let's watch Mike Figueredo make an ass of himself. And I don't deny that. I just think it's a lame attempt to target the trans community. Suddenly we care about women's sports. No, I don't have asthma. I have a stuffy nose a little bit, but it's not asthma. No, I mean, again, it's like, yeah, but it is an issue. I mean, we have trans women breaking records in women's sports, and eventually that's going to lead to cis women being pushed out of sports, period. Because obviously these coaches and these people want to win. So if we can use a trans woman who's generally a better athlete than cis women, then we're going to use them. So that's kind of my concern. I mean, again, I'm not concern trolling because I do care about women's sports. I mean, I don't want women being drawn or what's I'm looking for, being pushed out of sports, because I tend to like women's sports, except for WNBA, which is really boring. But other than that, I tend to like women's sports. Maybe we should base sports on ability instead of gender. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm concerned about. The only thing I'm concerned, I don't want like regular women being pushed out of sports for reasons, because they rather use trans women because it'll lead to more victories, or it'll lead to whatever, So I haven't covered Mike Figueredo in a while, and let's see what happens.
I just can't be a part of TYT anymore. It's just too much. It's ridiculous. Because at a certain point it becomes embarrassing for me.
Too.
Because how can I, as a trans person, who actually knows the science behind this, who actually is like actively trying to support trans people, as somebody that people look up to me, right? People literally like send me messages and be like, I'm so inspired, you being a TYT. And I have to deal with messages from...
Is that Mike in trans? I mean, no. Does he even look like him? No, that's not. That's pretty funny, though.
Them now asking about, hey, what's going on with TIT? Hey, what the hell is happening here? Like, why is Anna saying this? Why is Jenk saying this? And that is just like the amount of like psychic damage that I have to take every single day dealing with not only the transphobic nonsense of the Republicans.
Psychological damage? Come on, man. I mean, this is why I didn't want to watch this video. I watched this whole video. I was like, come on, really? You're psychologically damaged because people disagree with you slightly? And people, your employer slightly disagree with you? That's why you're upset? Come on, man.
But also, whatever Jenk and Anna are on right now, it's just too much. And because at a certain point it becomes embarrassing, because then people think that I'm like endorsing their views. And I cannot. I will not. I refuse to lend any support to those views whatsoever.
You just watched a small portion of Benny Carollo's 30-minute-long video explaining in great detail why she is leaving TYT. Now, for those of you who don't know, Benny was a TYT contributor, but as a trans person, she can simply no longer condone the anti-trans rhetoric coming from the show's main hosts. Now, if you're unaware, Benny is not the only trans TYT contributor to call it quits. Sandy Lovas, a non-binary person who also hosts Left of the Box, also left the network recently and recently spoke out as well for the same reason.
A year ago, when I had only been working on Rebel HQ for a month, I called out Jenk and Anna on this very issue. Do you think I wasn't aware of the risk attached?
I have no idea who this person is, by the way. So I didn't realize that this person worked for TYT.
That? Damn straight I'd be making noise about this both on and off camera. So what if I lose my job over it? Hell, I'm making these videos knowing full well I'm probably blowing any chance I have of ever getting back on that network.
And Sandy went on to encourage the TYT staff to walk out in support of their trans comrades. But Benny and Sandy aren't the only LGBT.
Oh my God. So she wants TYT employees to walk out on the company based off their alleged anti-trans views. Yeah, like people are going to do that. Like people are going to walk off the job and stop making money in order to virtue signal and grandstand. Come on. But Andy Kaufman was a champion in women's wrestling. Look it up. It's American history. Yeah, I'm not old enough to remember that particular part of wrestling history because I was born in 86 and a lot of this happened in the early 80s. So, but I do know exactly what you're talking about and who you're talking about. He's hilarious. But non-binary. Okay, so let's get to this part now.
TQ plus people at the network that have left. After being a network partner since 2017, I officially left TYT on May 1st of this year, and I think you all know why. I never stated why, but you all know why. It was because of this turn that they've made recently. And as you all know, leaving TYT was an absolute nightmare for me. I lost monetization for over a month, but I just couldn't be part of a network that doesn't value my community. And all three of us have tried to inform them on being better allies, but none of those attempts have been successful. All of us have failed. So we're here. That's 3 LGBTQ plus people that TYT lost within the span of a couple of months.
You know, that's an interesting point, Bad Cookies. And nobody noticed that Big Rado ever left TYT. I didn't know. I knew he was complaining about losing monetization on his channel, but I didn't know he actually left TYT. I figured he was still a part of TYT until this video came out and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'm not a part of TYT." So like, what? It's like, really? I mean, I wondered. He lost monetization for a month, and I was like, yeah, I don't care enough to actually talk about it. So I don't feel bad for you. Trust me, my videos are not monetized. I have 170 something subscribers and my videos get 10 views. I really don't give a shit. In fact, it's costing money to make videos. But in all seriousness, though, it's cost me money to make videos. The internet bill is like $200 a month. So trust me, it's not cheap to stream this shit and make these videos. But I'm not whining about it, though. By the way, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, share the stream, do all that good stuff because I need it. The middle-aged moderates. Let me play a few more minutes. I'm not going to play this whole thing. It's 33 minutes. I mean, he goes on and on and on.
Months. So the question is, how many LGBTQ plus people are even left at TYT? How comfortable are those remaining LGBTQ plus employees in the face of all of this? I mean, they've got to feel really uncomfortable now. Cenk and Anna love to scold idiot trans activists over optics, but have they considered the optics of this crisis that they've created? How the supposed home of...
Mike has also no issue using the gay card to get YouTube prejudice, to accuse YouTube of prejudice to get his channel back. Yeah. I mean, I remember that I think he made a video basically implying that they took away his monetization because he was gay. I'm like, it'd be like me saying, "Hey guys, YouTube, you know what YouTube is doing, right? They're shadow banning my channel. Why? Because I'm Puerto Rican and I'm Latino and and obviously they hate Puerto Ricans, right? So now I need YouTube to promote my channel and get me to 1,000 subscribers so I can become a partner. Or else then they're racist and they hate Latinos." That's basically what Mike was saying there. And I was like, dude, come on. What kind of just pathetic behavior. Just playing the gay card from the bottom of the deck. It's just weak.
Progressives lost multiple LGBTQ plus affiliates in just a couple of months because of their rhetoric, because of their refusal to listen to anything that we have to say, because they just disregard our input, even if it comes from a good place, even if they've known, at least me, for example, for years. I mean, if that doesn't trigger introspection, literally nothing will.
Yeah. Oops. It's fucked up. No, I completely agree, by the way. I mean, I don't want people to misunderstand my position. The LGBTQ community are our allies. But yeah, I'm not anti-gay or anti-trans or anything. But I'm just making some points where it's like, okay, we have to, it's not an orthodoxy. I'm not a part of some religious orthodoxy where we have to 100% agree with everything that the left does or liberals do, or when it comes to the LGBTQ community. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not like that. It's not an orthodoxy. It's not a religious set of principles that I have to follow, or else then I'm excommunicated from the liberals, from the left, or whatever. Rick says, let me respond to this. Is it fair to say that most rich PMC's issues within the company has nothing to do with actual regular LGBTQ people? And no, I mean, these PMCs don't care. That's the thing. They're using LGBTQ issues as a wedge in order not to talk about the more important issues, like the economic issues, or like Joe Biden being a disastrous president. They want to ignore all that in order to focus on nonsense like this and drama like this.
Now, to those not plugged into the discourse, let me give you some additional context. So, elements...
I appreciate you don't like my music. I respect you, Angel. We don't have to agree on everything. I appreciate that. I respect you too, I like having these debates and conversations during my streams. Makes it much more entertaining, and the time goes by quicker.
Of TYT's coverage has become increasingly reactionary, not just this year, not just with regard to the trans issue, but more broadly speaking. And that's not to characterize the totality of their content, but they have gotten noticeably more reactionary, ranging from their coverage of crime to homelessness to Cenk's endorsement of a right-wing billionaire who tried to buy the Los Angeles mayoral race after leading the charge against money in politics for years. It all is very out of character.
They can't wrap their heads around how TYT is all of a sudden going to the right. It seems like they're going to the right. They're pivoting. And it's obvious. I mean, everything you've seen here, they're pivoting towards at least the center, let's say. They're pivoting towards the center, and they can't wrap their heads around it. Like the Mike Figueiredos and the David Doles and the other channels that they spawned over the years. They don't understand why they're doing this. It's simple. Either A, Cenk has looked around and realized, oh, well, we've lost most of our left-wing audience anyways. Well, most of our audience are hacky Democrats. So we might as well go more to the center, and talk about how we become TERFs or basically push top propaganda. So, and now these people who basically spawned out of TYT, they don't know what's going on. They can't wrap their head around it. They're shocked. It's like, why would Cenk and Anna do this? Why would they do this? I don't understand. We used to be friends, and now they're doing this. So that they can't wrap their heads around it.
Seemingly for them. But the straw that broke the camel's back was this irrational tweet by Anna Kasparian, where she demanded to not be...
So this is the allegedly irrational tweet that Anna sent out when Mike had a big problem with. Is Cenk Lib a thing? Could be. Yeah. Because Cenk is like, he's a buffoon. At the same time, though, I think he can read the room and realize, shit, most of our left-wing audience left anyway, so might as well go towards the center. Maybe we can get more hacky Democrats to watch us and become more MSNBC light than what we are right now. So this is a tweet that Mike here had an issue with. Excuse me. I am a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus or a birthing person or a person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. Trump united a lot of different people. It was a mistake to assume we agreed on stuff. Yeah. By getting the left to fight over social issues, the ruling class avoids exposing a neoliberal agenda and austerity. That's exactly what's going on here. Everyone. This is what's the main discourse on the left right now. It's not Medicare fraud. It's not UBI. It's not getting out of the wars. It's nothing. Nothing. It's this. This is the main talking point on the left right now. Everybody's covering it. Everybody is talking about it. And I'm like, oh, goddamn it, I got to cover this, even though I don't want to cover this. And I would rather talk about anything else but TYT, but I still have to cover this shit. And okay. That was my attitude all week. It was like, I don't want to cover this shit, but I have to, or at least talk about it a little bit. Just a reminder, Cenk started off as a Republican. TYT got off the ground Republican money. Was that was that former governor who gave Buddy Roemer gave Cenk a bunch of money. I believe that's what you're referring to, or the other guy. What's his face? Why am I forgetting his name? The rich Christian, the guy who's rich and Christian, and he helped Cenk in the beginning of TYT. What the hell was his name? Rick something, was it? Damn, what was his name? I don't remember his name right now, but some Republican Christian. Yeah, Romer. Okay, but there was somebody else who helped him too as a Republican. Anthony Malecki says nobody's calling anyone birthing person though. This is manufactured. Yeah, I mean, I'm not claiming that somebody's actually calling women birthing people. I think that's mostly what the scientific field and stuff, but I don't know why Anna felt the need to tweet this. But you are allowing real debate. Most YouTube channels don't. Again, I appreciate that. I mean, that's what I want. I don't want my audience to basically be like bobbleheads. They start, you're right, Angel. You're always right. You're great. You're awesome. You're such a great man. You need more subs. I don't want that. It's like if my audience is gonna do that, I'm gonna get bored. I like debate. I don't want to have kids, but I don't mind going through the motions. I feel the same way, Carlos. I feel the same way. And Katzenberg's a Democrat though, and so, but yeah, he did give a bunch of money to Cenk though in TYT.
Be called a birthing person. People like myself responded asking who called her that and explained that this type of inclusive language is only used in very specific legal or clinical settings. She then doubled down weeks later, specifically in an attack against my leftist mafia co-host, and she laughed off the quote meltdowns over that tweet. Now, I'm not going to rehash that discourse because we've already talked about it at length on the leftist mafia, and I've talked about it on this channel. I posted a video about that. I'll link to
the leftist mafia is a terrible show and it's boring, and you have a bunch of leftists or liberals just talking a bunch of crap, which I don't care about. Almost every video I've seen on that show, Leftist Mafia, is nothing but social justice warrior and talking about social justice, and it's just boring stuff. So yeah, I have no interest in the Leftist Mafia and all that bullshit. Who's on that show? It's David Dole, Mike Figueredo, I think Matt Binderbinder is on there. Lance from the Surfs, that moron, he's on there too. And I think some other woman, I forget her name right now, doesn't really matter much. I cannot tolerate Figueredo. So I'm not going to play much more of this. TYT has crossed the Rubicon in search of a larger audience. Once you do that, you serve no purpose. Exactly. I mean, they're looking for the left wing. They're not left wing. They're looking for like that centrist type of audience now. It seems like they're pivoting towards the center, like that MSNBC audience doesn't have cable. That's what they're pivoting to, and these Democrats are not full left wing like progressives. They're mostly like centrists. That's what TYT is looking for. Leftist Mafia banned me too. They haven't banned me yet, but I'm sure at some point they will, especially if they see some of my streams. It's like, oh, fuck you. Anthony Malecki, the people who are declaring women are only useful as birthing person, usually the ones complaining about it. Yeah, in my regular life, I've never heard someone use birthing person. But you're absolutely right about that. I mean, I'm not saying this is a real issue. It's clearly manufactured, but still, I mean, if I was a woman, I would understand why. I would be offended when women, if I'm called a birthing person. It's like me being called Latinx. It's like, I'm not Latinx. It's Latino. That's the correct phraseology, not Latinx. So yeah. But still, Latinx is more commonly used than birthing person. That's definitely true.
Link to it down below if you want to watch that. But leftists and colleagues tried to delicately explain to both Anna and Cenk, who defended her at the time, that fixating and hyper-focusing on these insignificant issues, it just lends credence to the right's claim that trans people and their allies are unreasonable. And we even explained...
Hey, I have no problem with glory holes, but that's... I'm just saying, though, I looked over and I see this, I'm like, glory hole? It's like, well, I'm not judging. I have no problem with glory holes. In fact, it's like, hey, whatever floats your boat. And I'm just saying, though, I mean, what was my point? I saw that and I just started laughing, glory holes, and then I forgot what the point of this is. I really don't care about Mike. I'm not gonna... This is like 30 minutes, and I watched this, and I'm already bored by it. And I would rather just stare into oblivion than watch Mike Figueredo in a minute or two. So, yeah, he's upset because TYT decided to be, in his mind, anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ. I have to say it slowly, or else then I say, blah. That's how I end up saying usually. But he's upset. And they should have known better. Like all these commentators that TYT birthed out, they should have known better. But you like Cenk is a buffoon. You really think he cares about policies, and you think he really cares about any left wing position? No, he just cares about the ad revenue, and he's looking around, realizing in his analytics, oh shit, I'm losing most of my left-wing audience anyway. So you might as well go towards the center, get the MSNBC light crowd on Twitter or YouTube, and bring back our ad revenue. That's all they care about. That's all Cenk cares about. And Anna's like, and I don't know whether Anna's sincere or she's grifting. I don't know. I haven't watched TYT in a while, but yeah, I don't understand the controversy with this. I used to watch TYT years ago, but I never took them seriously. They were like an entertaining clown show to me. They would all have meltdowns, and they all would run their mouths about what they would do and how we need to fight and all this other stuff, but that nothing ever got accomplished, and Justice Democrats failed miserably, and all that other stuff. So I'm like, really now people are realizing how full of shit TYT is, even a lot of the commentators that they happen to birth out. So yeah, I've completely kind of lost interest in this. So Mike Figueredo can fuck off. Now I'm sure people have been asking about this, so I'm going to get to it now. Do I have time? Yeah, I have about an hour, so there's plenty of time. Because I'm going to rip Kyle Kulinski a new one. And I know before I even say anything, or before anything gets done, I know I'm getting a reputation for covering Kyle Kulinski in nearly everything that he does. Or not everything that he does, but one video a week I end up covering. I know that I'm getting that reputation. He already, I see some people in the chat, it's like, oh, did I miss Kyle's video? Kyle's like, no, you didn't. It's coming up. I know I'm getting that reputation, and it's like, maybe, am I fine with it? Yeah, because like I said 2 weeks ago, welcome to the show. Shut up. Like I said 2 weeks ago, I think somebody needs to push Kyle down a few pegs. like his ego is, he's so arrogant and so condescending and so smug that it's like, come on, man. I mean, you can't be like, somebody has to bring you down. Even if it's me, that's fine. Even if it gets 10 views, that's fine. But somebody needs to point out how full of shit this guy is. So in this video, I think last week I talked about this too, where he whines about Supreme Court decisions. And he complains about them all the time. And now the two most recent ones with the affirmative action case and the student loan case. He whines about it all the time in videos and on Twitter. So, and I've seen this, is like, come on, dude. Come on. Like, he started calling them judicial authoritarians or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, Kyle, here's the thing. The Supreme Court was designed to be authoritarian and above the people. It's an elitist institution that rules. Why am my eyes are like tearing up for no reason? But maybe it's my allergies acting up. I don't know. But it's like he's shocked by this. Like, dude, of course it's the fucking Supreme Court. They're not going. They're not accountable to the American people. They're accountable to. Basically Congress. That's pretty much it. But even then, Congress doesn't hold him accountable, so it's kind of pointless. So again, he starts whining and complaining, and he points and he shows a clip of Joe Biden going on MSNBC, I believe it was, and he starts talking, and he says this is Biden's fatal flaw, and he talks about the Supreme Court and all this other stuff. I don't want to, I don't want to give away too much because it's very fascinating, his logic and his arguments, and they're eye rolling at times. So it is like, oh, come on, dude, come on. All right, so let's start.
Oh, I got an awesome one for you today.
No, I don't need to hear about your show. Let's just skip. I don't need to hear, your promotion. All right. He spends 3 minutes on that.
Algorithm. Also, click that bell icon so you get a notification.
He spends 3 minutes promoting himself and talking about, please like the video, please like this, give me money in my Patreon, give me and Crystal money in order to get Crystal Kyles and friends on video form, and like the video. By the way, here's my shameless plug. Like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, super chats are fine, all this other stuff, but this, shameless plug time for me too. Angel has a fan blowing right in his face, and he wonders why his eyes are tearing up. Yeah, I didn't really think about that part, but it's either that or I sweat my ass off and look disgusting. So I have to deal with the teary eyes, I guess. SCOTUS has been proven to be just as corrupt as any branch of government. 100%. They are corrupt. I'm not denying that point, and I'm not disputing that at all. So let's...
Every single time a video drops, and please consider supporting the show either on Patreon, link in the video description box below, or use that YouTube thanks button to tip. Remember, I've never had a conversation with an advertiser. I'm very proud of that fact.
Hey, by the way, guys, make sure you click on the thanks button there. Give me money. Also, make sure that you give me a like, you subscribe, give me more money on my Patreon, by the way, and give me all this other stuff. Give me money. That's basically what the first 3 minutes of the show is about. And, really, dude? Yeah, we know you have. And also become a member, by the way. Link description box below. Become a member. Give me money. Give me money. I never talked to advertiser once, and I'm proud of that. That's basically what he's saying there. It's like, come on, dude. You spent 3 minutes on that.
So we like to build.
I'm a rich white guy, but still, give me money anyways. So that's what the first 3 minutes were.
Build this through small dollar donations. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this here. So President Biden went on MSNBC. Now, the main, thing that happened that people are responding to in this interview is that it kind of awkwardly ended, and he got up and casually wandered out while the cameras were still rolling. And
yeah, I saw that. It was really funny and really embarrassing for the administration when the president just gets up and yeah, I'm out. Yeah, here, thank you. Let me just walk away. While we're still on the air, by the way. That's usually not supposed to happen. You're supposed to wait till you're off the air and then walk away. But whatever, that was funny. But
It was kind of goofy. It was kind of silly looking. It was kind of sad. He clearly doesn't know what's going on. He's an old man. You know, we could state the obvious here. I mean, everybody agrees to all those things, right? But that's what was getting most of the attention. But this part of the interview, to me, is way more concerning. In fact, that other moment is just a classic Joe Biden moment now, and if anything, I'm giggling at it. Listen to what he says about the Supreme Court, and then I'll break it down for you.
Do you worry that without court reform, this conservative majority is too young and too conservative, that they might do too much harm?
Well, I think they may do too much harm, but I think if we start the process of trying to expand the court, we're going to politicize it maybe forever in a way that is not healthy.
That you can't get back.
That you can't get back. And I think, look, I think maybe it's just the optimist in me. I think that some of the court are beginning to realize their legitimacy is being questioned in ways that hadn't been questioned in the past. And I think there's a concern on some, maybe even the Chief Justice, that maybe we don't.
Well, in the independent legislature's decision, it looks like maybe Roberts had that in mind.
I don't know.
I don't either. But you could, the optimist could hope so, right?
So here's what's really frustrating about this clip. He says, if I
hear Nicole Wallace kissing Joe Biden's ass. Isn't she a Republican? Apparently not. Now she's like a liberal Democrat on MSNBC. And it's like she was in the Bush administration. Now she's kissing Joe Biden's ass. Kind of weird. Not surprising, though. She's on MSNBC now. So I'm not saying, it's shocking to me. But yeah, I digress, though. This is what matters here.
I take action to try to rein the court in, then we're going to politicize it maybe forever in a way that we can't get back. That's his argument. What's the problem with that? The problem is, hey, Joe, it is already politicized. Everything is politicized. Don't buy the PR line, the marketing line of, who, us, bro? We're like totally above politics and stuff. We're just calling balls and strikes. We're just like straight shooters who are giving the plain face reading of the law and the Constitution. We're not even political, bro. We're not even political, bro.
Yeah, if the Supreme Court was ruling the way that Kyle likes, he wouldn't be saying any of this. That's the hypocrisy here that bothers me. Is like if they ruled in favor of student loan debt and they ruled that affirmative action is constitutional, he would not be saying this. He'd be saying the exact opposite. When conservatives say the same thing that he's saying right now, he would just laugh it off and dismiss it. Because if now they're ruling against him, now he's mad, and now he's like, oh well, they're judicial tyrants and they're this and they're that, in bros and all this shit. Sound like he's from New York. It's super obvious with all the bros and stuff, but.
Joe, they struck down your student debt reduction. There was recently...
Yes, because he used the wrong law. He should have used the Higher Education Act, not the HEROES Act. That's why they struck it down. It had nothing to do with... I mean, Biden administration screwed up. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that they didn't give a shit and they didn't want to do it. So they purposely used the HEROES Act in order for the Supreme Court to say, yes, unconstitutional. The administration like, okay, well, yeah, we're kind of going to use Higher Education Act now. Maybe not so, not really so, but still. So,
only a case where they came out on the pro-corruption side involving Andrew Cuomo's aides in New York. The facts of that case, by the way, are egregious. We covered it. You should go take a look at it. But the bottom line is, Homeboy stepped away from the Cuomo administration or Cuomo campaign, literally took bribes, then went back to the Cuomo campaign to deliver on said bribes. But the Supreme Court said, hey, since when you took the bribe, you technically weren't in the same position at the campaign, therefore, it's not a bribe, and corruption is actually totally cool. I'm not kidding about this, guys. That was an astonishing case. They overturned Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision, a deeply, deeply unpopular move. They just limited affirmative action.
Yes, they overturned Roe versus Wade because that's, look... He's complained about this a lot. They overturned Roe versus Wade with the Hobbs decision, and that proves somehow the judicial tyrants. Yes, Roe versus Wade is popular, but at the same time, the Supreme Court shouldn't have made the decision. What they should have done is pass it through Congress. Let's say the Democrats had 40 years to try to codify this into law. They didn't do it. 40 years. What, 1972, 2022, 40 years about. It did nothing. They fundraised off of it. It's like, oh, we got to elect us because we'll protect Roe versus Wade. Why not just solve the problem by codifying it into law? No. No, of course not, because they would lose their fundraising, because it's pointless. Because Democrats already did what we asked them to, so you can't fundraise off that anymore. Who needs to win elections when you own the highest court in the land? That's how, unfortunately, that's how our system works. If you elect Republicans, they'll appoint conservative justices. So now it's a 6-3 supermajority in the Supreme Court favoring conservatives. If the Democrats didn't run Hillary Clinton in 2016, it wouldn't be 6-3. It'd probably be 6-4. No, 5-4. Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg died in 2018. Trump appointed 3 justices. Imagine for a second if Hillary Clinton didn't run and Bernie Sanders would have been able to appoint those 3 justices. What a difference that would make in the court. Just that one election, what a difference that would have made. If instead of Trump appointing 3 justices, that Bernie Sanders got to do it. Be a totally different court. Totally different court. We would have gotten a lot more things. Roe versus Wade still be constitutional. Very likely the student loan debt thing would have been fine. Affirmative action would still be around. All that other stuff. But because Hillary Clinton was selfish and decided on her president, and she was deeply unpopular, that's why, now we have the supermajority in the court. Hey, everybody. Hi, Nick Riviera. All right, let's keep going with Kyle here.
They crack down on unions by allowing employers to sue them, which could cripple unions moving forward. There's been corruption scandal after corruption scandal involving the justices themselves.
I'm making
detailed reporting on that. Shout out
to
thank you. Who did a phenomenal job getting into all the specifics and the nooks and crannies. Joe, it is already a politicized court. This is like saying,
let me get some of those donuts.
Of the Lochner era, well, I wouldn't want to fight back because then, maybe we'll be politicizing the court in a way that we can't get back. No, it's already political, and you have no choice but to counter that with politicizing it in your own way, unless you don't really care about the things you claim to care about. And the other idea that...
Hey, basically what he's saying there is, hey guys, the court's already political. So by definition, what we have to do now is make it political on our side. On our side, make them be a left-wing court instead of a right-wing court. Without having to win any elections in the future, let's just switch the laws. Shit. Like, who cares, right? Imagine if Republicans said that or Trump said that, something like that. Oh, well, the liberal court, we got to change it to conservative. I don't know, we'll do judicial stripping, or we'll pack the court, or we'll do whatever it takes to make it into a conservative court. Or Trump said that. How would he react? He wouldn't be happy with that. He would fucking whine and complain about how authoritarian Trump is. But because it's Biden, now this is what Kyle wants. He wants Biden to be as authoritarian as possible.
I can't get out of my mind is there's this argument that's embedded in his point here, which is it would kind of be un-American or crossing a line for me to do these things that the left is telling me to do, whether it's pack the court or term limits or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, it is actually deeply American for when the court oversteps, the president fights back and puts them in check. So I went back and read the history on this the other day.
No, he didn't, because I watched this video and his examples are both embarrassingly wrong. But let me get to some of the chats here. Let's see. Trying to make progressive change based on a 250-year-old constitution is futile. That's a great point. That's something I've said something similar. It's like, really, you expect to make progressive change in this constitution, race written right now, with things like, by the way, black person is 3/5 of a person. You're not a full person. You only count in 3/5. Or, the 14th Amendment, basically. Or it's the I'm forgetting my history. You're the 13th or the 14th would ban slavery, by the way, slavery is not fully banned. It's only banned when it comes to people out that have not been arrested or charged with a crime. But once they're sentenced, slavery is perfectly legal here in the U.S. still. They have to be in prison, though, or jail, which is why a lot of states use prison labor to make their license plates, to make stuff that they need, for the state. So, yeah. So you expect to make progressive changes with this Constitution we have right now, that's not going to happen. So you're just basically doing mental masturbation, wondering why can't we change anything, guys? We have the power. Why can't we change anything? The American people are pro all progressive policies, so why can't we get anything done? Oh, it turns out the Constitution is against most of it, and we have to actually get in the ground and fight and rewrite the Constitution. Oh no, that's too much hard for me. That's too much work for Kyle Kulinski. He can't stick his neck out for that to fight for rewriting the whole Constitution. I mean, that's not, he can't do that. He'll work within the system, but outside of that, being that radical to rewrite the whole Constitution, he's not going to do that. Neither is Crystal Ball, neither is the Young Turks, neither any of these people. They're not brave enough to actually put their neck on the lines for that. So it's a big waste of time. But he still does it because he makes his money. He makes ad revenue and he gets his audience all ginned up for something when it's not going to happen. Like, Biden fighting the Supreme Court and actually packing the court or doing judicial stripping or doing or imposing term limits or giving him like a code of ethics and all this stuff. It's not going to happen. None of it's going to happen.
The other day, there was a great article in the Smithsonian magazine about this. FDR basically drafted a plan to pack the Supreme Court. And this was at a time when FDR, peak of his popularity. I mean, the guy won 4 elections. There was a time when he had 80% of the Senate and 80% of the House. And then you also had Republicans who were like, I will bend to your whim because you're way too popular and I can't fight you. So the dude had it on lock. He had a plan to pack the Supreme Court, and he was going to do it. In fact, he had a meeting with the Supreme Court justices where they were all smiles and giggles and sipping champagne and a lovely chat. And then a couple days later, he declared war on the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? He scared the shit out of them into them getting their ass in line.
No, he didn't.
Because like you said, if Roberts is strategic and
turns out that's not really true. Yes, everything he said to that point is true except for that last part where he allegedly scared the shit out of the Supreme Court. So by the way, Kyle never shows the article. He just refers to it. He just refers to it like, oh, there's an article in the Smithsonian that I read, and it talks about how FDR, my favorite president of all time, whose dick I want to suck, he beat the Supreme Court, guys. So it's possible. And he scared them enough to accept a New Deal. So I kind of did a little bit of digging to find this article because I assume he's referring to this article here. And the interesting part is, I'll show it in a second, but the interesting part is the headline. Just the headline debunks Kyle's claim here about how FDR scared the Supreme Court into accepting FDR's ideals and FDR's policies. Just the headline proves Kyle wrong. So let me actually show this. So here's the headline. Let me see if it shows up well here. Yeah, it does. I assume he's talking about this article. It's the only one I could find in the Smithsonian. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I think the headline just shows you enough how ridiculous he is. When Franklin Roosevelt clashed with the Supreme Court and lost. He didn't win. He didn't beat the Supreme Court. He lost. He ultimately did what the Supreme Court wanted. And I remember this because I read this in a biography. How he wanted to pack the court, but his own advisors said, no, Mr. President, don't pack the court. It'd be a mistake. And eventually he did what the court wanted him to do, which was rework the New Deal in a way that would be constitutional. Buoyed by his re-election, but dismayed by rulings of the justices who stopped his New Deal program, a president overreaches. That's the headline, and that's the subheadline at the bottom. SCOTUS would block Medicare for all. 100%. They would block a federal Medicare for all for sure. I don't think it would pass. Even if it passed, SCOTUS would block it. It's unconstitutional because of, I don't know, interstate commerce. I mean, there is a clause in the Constitution about that. So there's a number of reasons why we blocked. Let's say if a state decided to do a single payer system, would that get blocked? Probably not, because it's within a state. Or this conservative Supreme Court will find a way to block it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. So yeah, Kyle's lying there when he's about the Smithsonian article when he says FDR won, he was based, and he brought the Supreme Court to heel. That's all bullshit. Just the headline shows you how bullshit that is. But that's the reason why he didn't show you the article. Because when he doesn't show you the article, that means that his characterization of the article is wrong. And embarrassingly wrong, too. When Franklin Roosevelt clashed with the Supreme Court and lost, he didn't win. Roosevelt basically did what the court wanted him to do, but yeah, he lost. He didn't win. He did not win. Let's go back to this super genius here who embarrassed himself. All right. Crystal has a strap-on with New Deal written on it. Makes Hal wide-eyed. Yeah, well, that's reasonable speculation, if I'm honest.
And to some extent he is. He would realize the legitimacy of the court is in question here, and that we need to do something to prevent the decline in legitimacy. So what happened during the FDR era? Well, before FDR cracked down on them, there was a case coming out. I forget the state that it was coming out of, but it was basically a state minimum wage case. And the court struck down a state's minimum wage and said it's unconstitutional for the state to do minimum wage. Well, then after FDR declared war, there was another state minimum wage case that came to them, and they go, this is actually totally constitutional, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about, bro.
That's an oversimplification to the point where it's just absurd. It's like, in his mind, they're like, well, I mean, before FDR went to war with the Supreme Court and lost, by the way, they said a minimum wage is unconstitutional. After the war, which FDR lost, by the way, then they said, no, it's okay. The minimum wage is okay. Do we have those cases? Did Kyle go over these two cases? Did Kyle figure out what was the difference between one case and the other case? No, because that's too hard. That's too hard to do that research. It's not easy, so he just references these cases and just say, fuck it. I'm too lazy to actually look at these cases and explain the differences, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about trying to get Democrats to win and trying to get Joe Biden to do something that I want him to do with the courts.
FDR scared them. They were going to rule that the Social Security Act was unconstitutional. FDR scared their asses into going, actually, this is actually totally constitutional, bro. The crisis we were facing at the time, people don't remember this, but there was fear.
Nobody today was alive in 1935, very likely. So people don't remember this. Like, that implies that people were alive then, which is probably not true. They'd be over 100 plus years old, or either dead or very close to death.
Fear that the Supreme Court would slap down literally every single piece of positive legislation from FDR and the Democrats that gave us a good social safety net and jobs programs, etc. So the American thing to do was, hey man, I got to check your ass. You're overreaching. You're judicial tyrants. You're judicial.
The American thing to do is to basically rein in the court and not give them so much power, and and let them know that, hey, what you're doing is bullshit. Like, come on, dude. Excuse me.
Authoritarians, and I'm not going to allow it. And it worked. Now, the other point to make, which again, you got to be a student of history to read up on this stuff. Abraham Lincoln went even.
A student of history, dude? Are you kidding me? You're not a student of history. You just looked a couple articles, one from Slate or the other one from the Smithsonian, and you act like you made your case. You didn't make your case. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassingly wrong. And he's going to refer to Abraham Lincoln here and how he battled the court. Now, what's interesting about this part is there's one thing he doesn't mention about why Abraham Lincoln was able to exert all this power over the judiciary, not only Supreme Court but also federal courts in general. He doesn't mention there's one thing that Abraham Lincoln had that no other U.S. president ever had. One situation. I'm sure you guys know what it is, but I'm gonna let Kyle, spew his nonsense, and then I'll have to check his ass, as he says.
Even further than FDR. So here they say in a Jacobin article how Abraham Lincoln fought the Supreme Court.
It's a Jacobin article. I haven't read this article, but yeah, I mean.
1987, a Southern majority Supreme Court ruled in Dred Scott v. Sanford that Scott had no legal right to bring suit in federal court because he used to be a slave. That, in Chief Justice Roger Taney's famous words, colonial and U.S. history showed that black Americans, quote, had no rights which the white man was bound to respect. Let me repeat that.
Hello? All right, well, give me a minute. All right, bye. Bye. Well, I'm gonna have to go downstairs and help my mother out with some groceries. So, if you can bear with me for a couple minutes, I'll be back to finish this up. But for now, I'm gonna have to go downstairs real quick. So just bear with me 1 second. I'll be right back. said, "Can you?" Yeah, okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. Took longer than I thought it would. Oh, Lord. And I'm stuck. Bear with me 1 second. My keys there. So I hope I didn't take too long and people went away, but did I have to leave Kyle on screen? Shoosh, here he comes. What you guys do in the chat? Hopping in the shower anyways. You are a good son. Thank you. I mean, I try. Did I have to leave Kyle on the screen? No, I didn't, but, I had to run out. I'm sorry. I should have probably taken this down, and you showed my pretty face, but whatever. Everything come out okay. Yeah, I'm fine. We're fine. It's just that it took longer to bring the groceries up than I thought it would, so let me actually get rid of this so people know I'm back. There you go. Alright, so I kind of lost track of what's going on here. Oh, yeah. Kyle saw about Abraham Lincoln. So let's keep going with this. I have, in about half an hour, Tara Reid is going to go live for INN, so I have to wrap up before 3. But make sure you guys check that out. It's 3 o'clock. It's her Politics of Survival podcast, so she has a guest lined up for 3 o'clock, which is why I was on today at 12:45, because she's in Russia now, if you guys obviously know. So, and local time over there is 10 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock p.m. But here is 3 o'clock, so that's why, I had to go. I was asked to come on earlier. I was like, sure, I'll do you that favor. It's Tara Reid, so that's why I went on earlier today. Usually at the 2:15 that I usually do. Angel, I bet ate half the Oreos. I bet. What channel Tara Reid is on? INN channel. If you're watching from the INN channel, she's gonna be on there at 3 o'clock. So that's why I have about half an hour to wrap this up. So in fact, what I'll do is I'll link the INN YouTube channel in the chat if you're not watching from the INN YouTube channel. I'll do that real quick, and then we'll finish up this Kyle video and most likely wrap up, because I got to be off before 3. Here we go. So Tara Reid's going to be on 3 o'clock Eastern, yes. So there's a link to the INN channel. Make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications, so when Tara goes live, or I go live, or any of us go live, you guys already know automatically. So you'll get a notification when one of us goes live. So let me just keep going with Kyle here and wrap this up.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the time said, and I quote, "Black Americans had no rights which the white man was bound to respect." Now, if I use Biden's logic, back in this era, I go, look, man, I want to fix the problems. I want to fight back against it, but I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't want to politicize the court in a way that's going to maybe ruin it forever. No, the point is, they are ruining it forever. When you say something so egregious like that, you are ruining it forever, and you are the ones being political. Biden still doesn't get it. They continue. Equally inflammatory was the court's ruling that Congress had no constitutional right to ban slave property in the federal territories. This decision outlawed the national platform of the anti-slavery Republican Party, which was premised on blocking slavery's expansion to the West. Slaveholders and their allies, including Democratic President James Buchanan and the overwhelmingly Democratic U.S. Senate, embraced the decision as a final settlement of the slavery question. Taney had proclaimed Dred Scott, quote, "the law of the land." Have we heard that before? And the ruling party in government agreed with him. Abolitionists like Frederick Douglass, meanwhile, condemned the decision as the judicial incarnation of wolfishness. Yet they knew the problem of pro-slavery jurisprudence could not be solved by anti-slavery jurisprudence alone. Quote, "We can appeal from this hell-black judgment of the Supreme Court," said Douglass, "to the court of common sense and common humanity." The remedy for Dred Scott did not reside in a lawyer's plea or a judge's opinion, but in mass political struggle.
Sending me
For the Republican Party, that struggle meant declaring political war on the idea of an all-powerful judiciary. After 1857, Republicans responded to Dred Scott, as the historian David Potter wrote, not with an attack on the decision, but an attack on the court. Guys, that's super important. I need you to understand this argument. This is everything hinges on this right here. So they're saying, you can nibble around the edges. You could say, but I think my interpretation of the law is correct, so you should go with my interpretation of the law. Or you could call bullshit on the entire charade and say, no, you know what? The entire court is illegitimate with how much they're overstepping and how tyrannical they're being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get the justification, legitimate justification, to say, nope, it's time for term limits. It's time for using judicial stripping procedures, which Congress can do, which says the court can rule on X, Y, or Z.
Which they won't.
It's time to pack the court or whatever.
Which they won't either.
Question the premise of the Supreme Court as this almighty, all-powerful institution, which is just being straight shooters and calling balls and strikes and looking at the legitimacy from a constitutional perspective. Nonsense. They are Federalist Society goons who are deeply ideological and political, and they dress it up in legalese and pretend like, well, my decision is above reproach. Thank you very much. Okay, I want to give you one more, though. We read this on the show the other day, but I feel like it's super important. So, this is from, I believe, let me make sure. Yeah, this is a quote from Lincoln. He said, quote, if the policy of the government upon vital questions affecting the whole people is to be irrevocably fixed by decisions of the Supreme Court, the instant they are made, the people will have ceased to be their own rulers, having to that extent practically resigned their governance into the hands of the eminent tribunal. In other words, let's not pretend you are, a fundamental piece of democracy. Let's call it what it is. You are oftentimes anti-democratic, and democracy should step in and check your ass.
Yeah.
Once in power, Lincoln and congressional Republicans reorganized the federal judiciary and packed the court, adding an additional justice in 1863. More fundamentally, though, they simply ignored
Hey, Kyle, why was Lincoln able to get away with this? I mean, he hasn't mentioned once why he was able to get away with this. Why Lincoln was able to do this when no other president probably would be able to do this and get away with it.
Pro-slavery precedents established in the 1850s. Now, is there anybody today who would argue this was incorrect of Abraham Lincoln to do? You didn't follow the proper process and procedures and the checks and balances, and you overreached and you were authoritarian. Is there anybody who will look you in the eyes today and say that the process arguments override the moral and human rights arguments of Abraham Lincoln saying, we're just going to ignore you because being pro-slavery is not okay? They continue. In June 1862, for instance, Congress passed and Lincoln signed a bill banning slavery from the federal territories, a direct violation of the majority ruling in Dred Scott. They just ignored the court. The court meekly acquiesced. Would you look at that? Wait a second. They're a paper tiger? Is that what you're telling me? They meekly acquiesced, recognizing that his political power was long since broken. So in other words, why don't you go ahead and stop me with your army? Oh, that's right. You don't have an army. Oops, I guess you're going to have to go along.
Oh, the smugness and the condescension from this guy. And he doesn't even bother to explain why Lincoln was able to do this and get away with it. I think, fundamental rights are inalienable. They aren't granted to us. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely the truth in my opinion, too. Lincoln's GOP was also opposed to slavery, wage slavery. Honey, how times change. Yeah, the Republican Party at one point in history was the Progressive Party, the quote-unquote Progressive Party. They were anti-slavery. They were pro-worker, and all. They were what the Democratic Party is supposed to be today, but we all know they're not. So Kyle Face looks like a silent film comedian. He does. Yeah, but all right. So I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to say it anyways from the next few minutes saying it. The reason why Abraham Lincoln was able to get away with all this is very simple. We were in the Civil War, Kyle. It doesn't mention that once. It does not mention that basic fact that we were in a Civil War. Civil War, Civil War, like a rebellion. So one of the few times where you can ignore the courts and you can ignore the federal courts and ignore Congress and ignore whatever is during a time of rebellion. Civil War was a rebellion. This is why Lincoln is able to pack the court. He was able to ignore all of the pro-slavery Supreme Court decision in the 1850s. Able to ignore that too. The executive order that freed all the slaves was a military executive order, so the Supreme Court couldn't do much to stop it, obviously, because it was a military executive order, while the president, exercising his role as commander-in-chief, was able to write out and free the slaves based on his military power, not legal power. It's two different things. And when the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the court, asked for writ of habeas corpus for all the Confederates that were arrested, he asked for writ of habeas corpus, and Lincoln ignored him. It was like, yeah, fuck you. It was, I'm not doing that because I'm exercising my power as commander-in-chief. I don't have to give you writ of habeas corpus during a rebellion. So, no, I'm just not going to do it. And he didn't, and he got away with it. That was the one thing, that's the one difference between Lincoln and any other U.S. president. No other U.S. president ever dealt with an actual rebellion other than Lincoln. And maybe George Washington, to be fair, with the Whiskey Rebellion, but that was brief. That didn't last long, so that's why I don't count Washington. But Lincoln definitely dealt with a rebellion and definitely had more power than most U.S. presidents have ever had, pre- and post-Lincoln. We also forget that the Emancipation Proclamation wasn't enforced until much later. Yeah, I mean, it was a military executive order, if I remember correctly. It was done in Lincoln's military capacity of commander-in-chief. So this whole thing about how Lincoln owned the Supreme Court and won and fought the Supreme Court and was able to pack the court and reshape the judiciary to his image, like all that stuff, yes, but we were in the middle of rebellion. So the Civil War, Lincoln had more powers, and those are powers that Joe Biden doesn't have and never will have, by the way. So unless somehow there's enough Trump supporters to start up another rebellion, another civil war, which is not going to happen because Americans are far too complacent and far too lazy. So they might get mad for a day or two, but after that they'll move right on and talk about, oh, did you see what happened on The Voice last night? Did you see what happened on The Walking Dead or Law and Order? Oh my God, man, I can't believe that happened last night on my favorite television show. Americans are far too complacent, far too lazy, far too anything to do anything when it comes down to civil war or fighting against anything. They don't care. Like, nobody gives a shit. So, a couple more comments. Carlos says, I do appreciate the historical fact check. I try, I do. It wasn't really that hard. So Kyle could have done this too, but he didn't because he's an idiot. And Bad Cookie says, got an interview in 20 minutes. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, man. I hope you get whatever job you're desiring. I know you can do a fantastic job. Don't Like My Music says, we are entertaining ourselves to death. Yeah, because I think that's the whole point. That's why I don't watch TV anymore. The only TV I do watch is sports, like baseball. Like everybody knows, I like the Yankees. Everybody follow me on Twitter. I like basketball and football. Those are the only things. That's the only reason why I have cable, because of sports. Trust me, if I can get my sports on Amazon or on Netflix or wherever, I would get that instead of cable. It's cheaper. I wish Bad Cookie's the best on his interview. Thank you for joining me all this time. Greatly appreciate it. Go do your interview. I'm almost wrapping up here anyways. But too many people are glued to YouTube day and night following streamers. You see, that's the modern interpretation of this. That's exactly right. That's the modern interpretation of this, because people my age, like, we're used to watching cable. We're used to watching Jerry Springer and Maury and Montel Williams and all these trash morning or afternoon talk shows. That's what I did when I came home from school. I watched trash TV. I come home at 2:00 and I turn on TV and there's fucking Jerry Springer. Like, oh, great fights and fucking shit, hell yeah, I'm down with that. And we have all that crap TV on throughout the 90s. But today, for people, my nephew's generation, 16, 17 years old, they don't know who the fuck you put on TV. You know, their biggest stars to them are YouTube streamers, whether it be Destiny or Logan Paul or KSI or PewDiePie, or I can't name them all. There's a bunch of them, but yeah, that's absolutely true. You know, you have this issue of people being focused on entertainment instead of actually knowing what's going on in the world, which is why I try not to watch TV. Like, I try not to watch cable or anything like that unless it's sports. That's a good point, though. Let's see. If Abe Lincoln put a feather on his top hat, would he still be called macaroni? Is there anything else with this Kyle video? Because I have about 10 minutes to wrap up, so let me see what he says.
Along with what we do. Now, guys, how does this translate into today? Well, for example, on the Supreme Court...
It doesn't. It doesn't. Lincoln has special powers because he was in the middle of the rebellion, so he doesn't have any special... This doesn't apply at all to today. But let's keep going.
Excuse me. On the student loan debt case, what should Biden do? Well, to his credit, he did say, okay, you're slapping it down this way. It's nonsense, but whatever. Now we're going to do the same thing via the Higher Education Act, which is crystal clear that it allows me to do what I want with the debt, or the Secretary of Education to be more specific.
Which is what he should have used from the beginning. He should have used, instead of using the HEROES Act, he should have used the Higher Education Act. He didn't, because he simply doesn't want student loan reform. That's why. I mean, why is Kyle not saying this obvious fact? Now he's saying, oh, yeah, now I'll try the student debt reform or Higher Education Act. Now I'll try it. It won't go anywhere because this case probably won't be heard until after the election. But at least, I'll try now, guys. Trust me. Unbelievable.
Because, by the way, 92% of student loan debt is held by the federal government. They can do whatever they want with that. So all you have to do is, I'm doing the Higher Education Act. Apparently, under, the new regulations rule, you have to, have a 30-day minimum comment period on this. So do the comment period. That's what they're doing. But then at the end of it, just say, gotcha, and wipe.
I appreciate you having me on the background. I appreciate that a lot. I couldn't. I had to work on my farm. I have YouTube playing in the background when I can listen. Winter I can. Summer is works time. Hey, I appreciate you having in the background. I mean, it helps with views, and that helps, as long as you're helping with that, that's greatly appreciated. You can do it. You can do it all night long. All right, let's finish this up, and then I have to wrap up.
Wipe the debt slate clean. Just do it. Now, in that case, if it goes through the court process,
which it will,
if there are cases over it, which there definitely will be, and it goes from one court to another and eventually gets to the Supreme Court after all the appeals, the Supreme Court might say, we disagree, you don't have the authority to do this, which, by the way, they might not say that, because this is the plain-faced reading of it is overwhelming in this instance. I mean, to say that you can't do that would honestly be comical. But if they were to say that, and you're Biden, you turn around and go, okay, I mean, I'd love to help you out, but it's gone. The debt is gone. We erased the debt. There is no process or procedure by which we can get that debt back. Now, if you want to go ahead and take the reins of power and try to figure out the administrative mechanisms to return the debt, by all means, you're more than likely, I am complying with you, but what do you want me to tell you? It's over. It's done. And then what happens?
Yeah, except that he wouldn't do that because Biden is an institutionalist. He would never do that. He would never just say, oh, by the way, I just got rid of all this debt and nothing I can do about it now, so up yours. He wouldn't do that. Like, Biden is too much of an institutionalist, so this is probably another minute.
You know what will happen? They will, quote, meekly acquiesce, recognizing that its political power is broken, because they have no other plays. So this is what Biden has to do. Will he do it?
No.
I doubt it. But that's the path, man, and it's crystal clear. And the benefit of this also is this isn't as difficult a fight as FDR had, and this isn't as difficult a fight, certainly, as Abraham Lincoln had. This is actually a much lower level fight.
No, Abraham Lincoln had it easy because he had the hell was that? Let's hear the noise. He had extra powers as president, so it was much easier for FDR for... Oh, that's what that is. Okay. Alright, look, I'm gonna have to wrap this up here for obvious reasons. Tara Reid's about to go live in 10 minutes or whatever, so... Yeah. So, I'm done with Kyle anyway, so you can screw off. But, yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining me. First of all, this late time, earlier time as usual. It's all good. Don't worry about it. I mean, I have to go. I know my laptop battery's dying anyway, so I have to get off. So I want to thank everyone for joining me. Make sure you watch Tara Reid. She's going to be live in like 10 minutes. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll be back next Friday, hopefully at the same time, 2:15 Eastern. I appreciate all the support. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys next Friday for episode 19. Have a great day.